Hello and welcome to a new episode of the Golden Nugget Show. Today we're talking about unlimited wealth from Paul St. Pfalzer. And this is a new idea I had, just that you can actually look and read a PDF file while watching the video, so it's easier to know where we are currently at. So, what's the show about, first of all? The show is about saving your time, because did you ever find yourself, I certainly didn't, actually starting to read a book and never finishing it. So, and I noticed, hey, most of the books are really great, but what makes them great are those tiny little insights that are here to change your life. And this is what I'm compressing in these videos, that you can actually get the whole benefits of the book, those insights with background knowledge if stumble upon some quotation that needs background knowledge, like every does. I'm going to talk about it, and that's basically it. How I digest those books is very simple. I'm actually not at home right now. There I only have my book I'm currently reading. How I digest those books is, first I mark like everything I'm reading, and then I read every book 4 times, 5 times. So you saw this asterisk right here, and until some quotation got 3 asterisks, only those that are like 4 times reading, even worth writing down, I put them here on this video, on this show. So most of the time, 80% of success takes 20% of time, and this is my this is a way for me to comprehend for you, hey, it doesn't take long to digest these books. It takes long, but actually it doesn't for you to really know what they're about. So you could either read them like 10-12 hours, or just watch this short video with the golden nuggets from this book, the greatest insights, the things where the magic happens. So let's get right started. God does not play dice with the universe. Basically, really great. You don't actually need to believe in God, but I believe that's really, there must something out there that's higher and more than us. Like you could call it God, Allah, the universe, whatever. For me, basically, it's the same. So this was the pre-word. So let's then the book actually started. This is an interesting book about speaking here about to you who wants to lead himself to be a new world leader, and this is really where I believe it all starts, because if you want to lead yourself first, you also need to understand how does our economic engine works. So this is a great thing actually to consider, that once you're into some kind of expertise in one field, it's much easier to gain expertise in another field, because you already have gotten really deep in one field, and now it's easier to go deep in another field. So we do not live in a resource-scarce environment. Okay, this is a crazy quotation we are currently having, and on page 1 of this book. But later it's actually explained. So, in short, an alchemist creates wealth, and an economist merely moves it around. So he's talking about those new people, this new rich, like Jeff Bezos, like and Elon Musk, like how's the CEO from Apple that died called? What was his name? What was his actual name? I don't freaking know. But you know who I mean. So why are there those are alchemists, like he describes. They look for something that makes life better and creates this. Economists, like the old days, barely move around. Does this make sense? The only enduring business is the business of change. So even now, this book came out 30 years ago, and there he writes that business needs to change. We all need to change. What does a leader do? He changes. A leader in business creates change. Creating change is the most crucial step, but change happens in a moment. But the problem is it takes really long for most people. So this is the challenge of a leader. And the important part is that every successful business needs really to change. Nowadays, even further, hey, this book was written 30 years ago, and there they state change. Nowadays, everything changes rapidly through the speed of the internet. So we need to change even faster. The first law of modern business is no longer find a need and fill it, but imagine a need and create it. It's like really like I'm doing with this channel, like most of the YouTubers doing. I'm currently following I don't know if you know this game. It's called Binding of Isaac, and it's really it's from an old Zelda game, somehow copied, but it's really interesting. You can play it. It's just really cheap, like $20 or so, and it's really interesting. I thought long, hey yo, I just play this game my own, but then there was this YouTuber who just plays this game, and it's just awesome because I don't need to play it, and it's like on every platform when you're watching gaming videos, hey, you could play, but you won't because there's an expert that's actually great at this game who does his living by it, and it's really interesting to watch this. But this is I didn't have this need, but it finally showed up because this person just made those videos. The majority of successful business people will no longer be supplying consumers with products that are simply better at filling existing needs, rather they will be creating entire new needs to fill. So this is basically the big explanation. Economics is the study of how people and society choose to employ scarce resources that could alternatively used in order to produce various commodities and distribute them for consumption. So you really need to be for longer in business or had some kind of expertise in BWL or in Germany it's BWL, and just what you're learning about is the Homo economicus, the guy that just is a completely rational being, and he's just freaking awesome because he's so rational and only looks at price, and people doesn't do this. And this is where this book mostly comes into play. Hey, we need to consider that we buy out of logical reasons, but the source of our buying behavior comes from our emotions. We buy out of emotion, but justify this with logic. And successful business owners really go there and don't even find resources scarce, because there was a great example in this book, and the example goes like following. What was land once scarce? Yes, it was once scarce. We couldn't cultivate crops and so on to use this land, so we wandered around. But then we learned to cultivate crops on this land, and then we are like, simultaneously land got a resource, and now we are like, okay, land is scarce because we need a whole bunch amount of it. But there for several hundred years there was this scarce resource called land, and we needed to get more land, and there were wars about it. But then we learned a technique that let us on the same land cultivate 40 times the crops, and so land wasn't scarce anymore. Our technology advances faster than the resource gets out of hand. It's like the same on mobility with oil, with gas stations. Hey, I was told I'm not going to use gas stations anymore. But 40 years ago, they told that in 20 years we don't have any gas more. But then there was new technology to find new resources, to conquer new resources, to use it even more effectively, that we don't need to use up so many in such a short period of time. So we were like, maybe we get rid of the scarce resource and replace it with something else before it gets completely used. And basically, I haven't personally found. If you found, can write it in the comments box below and start a discussion. This is always interesting. I basically didn't found any example where this principle from this book didn't hold accountable. All economies as a means for understanding how society uses and distributes scarce resources. So this is basically what an economic does. Hey, where's the resource scarce, and then how do dispute them? Did you ever find yourself, just because something's scarce, something only one stock's available, you rapidly bought it because you had the fear of missing out? It's like scarcity is one of the mechanisms we use to get people to move, to get people to change. So this is actually a great tool if you're using it right for the right reasons and not other reasons like, other people do, like giving you bullshit you don't even want to buy and they think you don't even need it. We live today in a world of unlimited, not scarce resources, a world of unlimited wealth. In short, we live in an alchemic world. The difference between slow-growing and fast-growing economies was not the rate of capital accumulation, but technology. So I was talking to a friend of mine, and she told me that they don't have such technologies here like we have in Germany, in their home country, and this is fucking awesome to have water out of... And I couldn't even believe... what, you don't have water in your home at home? She's like, no, this is freaking awesome. And I'm like, yeah, but wouldn't you need to install this basic technologies, I thought, to even gain somehow of a competitive reasoning to be in this society? And why won't this work? Yeah, maybe because they have so less of technology. Like we noticed, we were giving Greece a whole bunch of loan as Germany several years ago, and what happened? Nothing went better because they had money now, but did not got any technology to use it and to get this stone rolling. It's like in the other book I once I have a Good to Great was it? There is an episode about it. It's like technology does not determine the success of a company. Technology only accelerates its success or its demise. If I use technology and buying in as such a technology, if I use money as this technology, I will end up not having, it will end up into my demise because I trust in this technology, but it's most likely not to happen, because the first thing I need to do is having the right people on place to use this technology. But capital by its own is a technology we don't even want to use, because we first need the right people and then give it the technology. Technology is the major determinant of wealth, because it determines the nature and supply of physical resource. Like I told earlier with the example, hey, gas is scarce, but we get new better technologies. Now we have electronic cars, and gas will soon be irrelevant for our driving behavior, and we're freaking free of it. Then we only need the components to make solar panels and so on. But there might be a better reason or a better solution to gain out of the sun electricity. As evidenced by spending habits of the contemporary UP upscale consumer, demand is insatiable. The more we earn, the more we spend. The more we spend, the more we get. The more we get, the more we want. And the more we want, the harder we seem to be willing to work to earn more money to get it. If you ever followed some millionaire that really was honest and not just, I'm fucking great, I'm such a millionaire, look how many cash I have, but he's really humble and really talks about what his issues are. And most people think, hey, those people might not be having issues. But this is a great quotation I heard from such a millionaire, that they still have some things they want but can't buy because it's too expensive. So basically, why, this is a great example I once read, why does the Japanese market not function well for instead of the US market? Because Japanese people actually have money on their bank account and don't spend it. And this is a factor for the demise of an economy. It's so really buying what you want is a factor. It's like from Das Kapital, from Karl Marx, hey, the speed where the money, in which the money travels around is like really relevant of the usage, how much you can use. And if we have all this mindset that there's an unlimited amount of money, because hey, there is, it steadily grows and it grows and grows and grows and it never goes down. Yeah, sometimes there are inflations, or like in 2008 these these, but in the whole time that the market existed, especially the stock market, it has every time recovered. Otherwise, we wouldn't be here with the stock market for over 200 years. So this might be something that's really about what we should think. So if we really want to make money and we're this young, just invest everything into stocks like the S&P 500 and hold it for long. So this is the best tip I really got. This is the most crucial part. The genius of Mikhail Gorbachev may lie in his realization that in order to have perestroika, sorry, I'm not pronouncing it basically right, alchemic economic freedom, he first needed glasnost, the free exchange of information. So we really need freedom of voice, freedom of information. So without it, there will not be anything, because technology advances in itself. But how does the best innovation come by? Not by people that are inside a niche, but people that are outside this niche and see, hey, this is some stupid thing they're doing like over 40, 50 years, let's change it, and then the whole niche vanishes overnight because someone made a solution that's make a technology that's even an innovation that's even greater than anything else. The world's supply of physical resource is not decreasing. On the contrary, our effective supply of resource is increasing. So this is like I told earlier with the gas again. Hey, this increases this, and hold this example because many of the thing you can model to this gas example. Many of our resources are going into, hey, it's effectively yeah, we need more gas than ever before, and the problem is we have more gas than ever before available. So where is the limit? The sky's the limit. But the amount of a resource is not the same as the supply of a resource. So this is what I said earlier. Hey, if the amount of the resource are 1,000 units, and how we are using currently our gas is that we have 40 years to go. But then we in those 40 years we find an innovation that makes us 50%, 60% more effective of using this gas. We are likely to expand the amount stays the same, but the supply of the resource increases. So there's actually another thing is, hey, how fast can it travel to where it's destined? This is also called a supply. Technology determines our supply of existing physical resources by determining both the efficiency with which we use resources and our ability to find, obtain, distribute, and store them, like the example I gave earlier. The rate at which society's technology advances is determined by the relative level of its ability to process information. This is actually a huge topic I'm really talking about. It's like, how can I process information even faster as a whole society or as a person? Because I really believe that all change starts on a personal level. So how can I increase my ability to process information even more rapidly? This is the question we basically all want to answer to gain wealth. Money follows speed. The faster I can process information and actually use it, not just, okay, I understand, I know, I know. Fuck off, man. Really, fuck off. Knowing doesn't make any freaking difference. Yeah, I know, I should change. I know, I should go to the gym. Yeah, man, why don't you freaking go? Because you only know. Knowing is not executing. Execution triumphs over knowledge every day of the week. Knowledge is no power. Execution is. So we really want to increase our capability of executing. So there's 3 basic skills we all want to master. First, pattern recognition. Second, pattern utilization. And third, pattern creation. Problem is, okay, most people don't ever get to the pattern recognition part. It's like how the old saying goes, history does not repeat itself, but it rhymes. So really consider, okay, history is really about, hey, how the frick am I? Okay, let's go from another standpoint. And how do I get to this point of, because that otherwise I wouldn't lose it. How do I get to this, hey, pattern recognition state? So I need to learn. I need to process information. How do we as human process? How do we learn new information? Yeah, I repeat it and I write it down, and yeah, but this will only help so much. The only possible way to store information more rapidly, like we know, is through emotions. Everything, every information that is attached to emotion, we will remember tremendously. Think about it. For example, I myself had to do several vocabulary tests and I hated it, and I was like so just wear my vocabulary sheet and was like so really bored and looking at it, writing it down, and like, yeah, okay, and I was there for like several hours, and those were only 40 or 30 vocabularies, like you should instantly remember them, but nothing stick. Like only I couldn't even translate half of them, so I was like really devastated about it. But then I had my first girlfriend, and she told some stuff, so by a sentence or so, and I remembered every little word. Why does it take here over 40 minutes to not even get this? But when someone you really care about tells you something, you remember because of the emotional attachment. So live with passion, be passionate about your stuff, and it will easy for you to store this information. Passion, or in high intense state, be love, be frustration. Frustration is also, hey, you notice, you remember. If you're really frustrated with something and you will never do it again, or if you're really angry about something, you will attach those information to the state, and then you will actually remember it. I'm looking right now, and I'm actually 30 minutes in, so this is going to be a two-parter as well. Namely, in the achievematic world, the market has no corners. So it's like, hey, everyone that wants to start a business, oh, I need to corner the market and then just get into there. But in those achievematic world we are talking and we are currently really living in, there are no corners. There's so much bubbles so much sub niches. You don't even would believe what I'm currently into marketing, and this is what niches are out there. You can't even. Let's talk about furries, if you even know them. It's like if you make your research on just the term furries, over 70,000 people look it up in Germany a month. And then we need to consider, okay, twice as many search results are there for all these sub niches, sub keywords. So over 140,000 search results just for furries. What the freaking frick? And this goes on, like football, Bayern. I googled, there were only 20,000. So people look more for furries than they look up for basically Bayern Munich. And this really, if you're into football, you know Bayern Munich is really known, especially in Germany. But it's really, I was like, okay, yeah, there are no corners. There's so much market out there. We only need to imagine, hey, this could be really interesting for a person, and go after it. And then throw rocks at the niche, throw rocks at the market until the algorithm notices, hey, there are really people that are interested in this stuff. And this is what I'm currently doing. So if it does, if it worked out and living the dream life, you might know. But if not, hey, do it over and over again. The only impossible goal is the one you stop going after. When it comes to resource, the alchemist never forgets that it's a buyer market. that's a result of technology. There's virtually no raw material for which one cannot find a substitute. So basically, hey, you can go to another person, or you can just Google book review of these books and you'll find several things. And this is what we all need to consider to increase and improve our content constantly, and to give more and better insights than our competitors. And it's all about those buyers, those trends. And this is something we should never forget. Change so long as your business exists, so your buyer won't leave. People began to get everything they needed, and then more of everything they needed, and then even more of everything they needed, and still the economy didn't implode. It's like the need pyramid from I don't remember the name, but you might know it. And the guy states, hey, yeah, once people fulfill their basic needs, they don't want anything more or need anything more. But we still want more, because this is actually a human nature by its own. One of our most fundamental needs, I would say, the needs of the spirit, is to grow. We want more and more and more. Why doesn't an Elon Musk stop? Because he wants more. But he was wrong, thinking that people's needs were basically fixed and absolute, that they were capable of eventually being met, and at which point demand would be satiated. Yes, this is actually what I was speaking about. The problem is our needs won't be satiated ever. We still want more. Hey, if you think your life is perfect and everything is just right around the next corner you move, something devastating will happen, and you find a new need, because this is how we men are wired. So you can click the link in the description to download this first part of this great book, and the second part I'm going to do later. But have a great day.